Hello, everyone. Andy Jacob here with the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series. Buckle up because we have a very fascinating show today. You know, so many people reach out to me at the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series, and they say, Andy, listen, something that's very hot right now. We need to get information about franchises. We need you to bring on an expert in the franchise field that can explain everything to us about what it takes to get involved with the franchise. Maybe help me find the right kind of franchise, what it's all about. How much money can I make? How much money do I need to invest in the franchise? So many questions from people who watch the show about franchises. Well, I had to reach out to one of the leading franchise experts in America. His name is Tim Parmeter, and Tim has a wonderful company called FranCoach. And what he does is he really helps people figure out what type of franchise is best for them and gives them all of the proven steps along a path to make sure that they become successful with the right franchise. So, Tim, I wanted to take a minute before we get started and get into it to welcome you to the DotCom Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series today.
Andy, thanks so much for having me, man. I'm excited to talk to you. Thanks. Really, I can't thank you enough for having us on.
Well, Tim, this is awesome. You're one of the leading experts with FranCoach. You help so many people. I mean, everybody's talking about FranCoach as the go-to company to help people figure out what it's all about in franchising. But Tim, before we get started, let's pull the lens back to 30,000 feet and tell us about FranCoach.
Sure, Andy, and thanks. So I think first and foremost, most people don't know there's something like us even out there, right? If we want to buy a house, we know we go to a realtor, right? For that assistance along the way. I think I might want to have a franchise or a business of my own. We kind of get stuck. And so more than anything, our mission is to help educate people just on franchising itself and franchise ownership to help them learn enough to know if franchise ownership is the right path for them now. And let's be honest, man, it may not be, or it may not be the right time, and that's okay. But at the very least, what we're going to help people do is just learn something new. And that usually isn't going to kill us. And then from there, it's the journey to actually, figure out the right match and all of those things. But just at the core, and probably at my core, is an educator, a teacher, a coach. And that's what we're trying to do with people on franchising, because most people don't know the first thing about it.
I love it. And of course, I look at a franchise, I look at it as a business opportunity. That's what I look at it as. And I'm sure many people do as well. And of course, you have a team of franchise experts, really coaches that are really there to help first-time business owners, or maybe second or third-time business owners, maybe they own 4 franchises, to help understand what the perfect business opportunity or franchise for them will be. So people reach out to you all the time. I mean, people are talking about FranCoach. Everybody knows, within this certain circle that you're a go-to expert. And of course, we want to get the word out to the people that don't understand there's an expert like you available for them to, get consultation from. What's that first conversation sound like from someone that's thinking about getting involved with this business opportunity?
Yeah, so it's all over the board, right? But it's mostly, there's somewhere in them, they've always thought there's a better way than working for the man, right? Now, it could be people could keep their job and start a franchise, but somewhere in them, there's been that spirit of, I would like something for myself, right? The reasons, and really almost all of them, come down to a couple things. Control, right? Lifestyle is the biggest. I'm in control of my time. Earnings, all of those, yeah, we want money, right? But it's the overall lifestyle piece of it, right? So just understanding where people are, or kind of where they are in their life, and understanding that they have a desire to find something better for themselves and for their families. And then from there, really, it's just giving them a high level of just like, hey, we're going to walk you through this. There's no fee for our service, which then usually begs the question, like, how do we get paid, right? I'm an awesome dude, Andy, but I do like to eat once in a while. So there is money coming into the business, but we're like recruiters, or realtors, right? We're compensated by the franchisors because we're essentially doing their job, finding talented new owners. So that first call is just kind of getting a feel for kind of where some of the pain is for folks. And then the confusion of, I know there's something out there, like help me figure that out. And then we'll kind of lay out the steps for how we're going to do that.
I love it, Tim. It's so awesome. So let's talk about franchising, generally speaking, okay? Because there's going to be younger entrepreneurs watching the show. Maybe they're thinking about, maybe starting their own startup. Maybe they have their own startup, but maybe they're saying to themselves, maybe there's a better way. Maybe, running a startup from scratch might not be the best thing for me with my sort of business acumen and my mindset and what I want in my time, energy, and effort in my life. Maybe it's better to get into a system. Maybe it's better for someone to offer me sort of like the bundle of goods that I can then take and then sell and be part of a franchise system. So high level, what is it about franchises that really, turns people on? What's the thing about them that's really sort of the run to daylight for young entrepreneurs, old entrepreneurs, and the like?
Yeah, it very simply, it's a proven system, right? So the franchise has gone through the startup phase. They've gone through all the trials and errors and mess ups and all those things. They have a proven system, right? Every franchise. And that's what you're buying into, right? And more than anything, what a franchise is looking for in an owner has nothing to do with experience, whether it's just age or general experience or in a specific industry. They want to know somebody can follow a plan. Not everybody can or will, right? But that's the main thing. And use an example, Andy, let's say me and you, we're going to start our own sandwich shop. It's going to be Andy and Tim's sandwich shop because we make the best dang ham sandwich you've ever had in your life. Well, okay, could we do that? Sure, right? But when you start thinking of all the things we have to figure out, like what's the proper way to slice the tomatoes? How do we train that for every single person in every single sandwich? Where do we buy the napkins from? Is that a good vendor? Is that a good price? I don't know, right? Pick your sandwich franchise. They're going to say, here is where you get the best napkins. This is our volume discount because we're so big. There's a service franchise we work with. They're so big, the buying power, their owners literally get vehicles from the dealer, like from the manufacturer rather. And I don't want to say which one, but pick your auto dealer, right? They get it from the manufacturer for less price than an auto dealer does because of the volume. And again, part of that proven system, part of the things that they're bringing to the table for you as a new owner to be able to execute.
Tim, it's so interesting. And of course, you have the franchisors. Those are the ones that offer the system that the franchisees buy into. And then the franchisors, of course, get a small piece of the action as it goes along, and the franchisees pay to get into the franchise. But it's a nice, neat package. It's sort of like you find out what you like to do. You find out sort of the thing that turns you on. You find out, in your mind what you're going to love doing, every single day. And then you get this complete package. You get this sort of step-by-step package from the franchisors. Is that really the thing that makes franchisees really excited, that they get a system that they can follow that's going to lead to a proven success?
Without question, right? And it is part of what we do. You mentioned kind of what's that first call look like? Well, for us, the second call that we'll take people through, I literally block an hour on a call to just pummel them with questions. And I kind of like, I half joke, like it's going to be, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it's, what are you good at? What do you like? Literally, you're going to want to get your butt out of bed every day to go to work, to run your business. Let's make that as ideal as possible. What are you good at? What do you want? Where do you need the support? And you can have, in pretty much any industry in franchising, you can have two franchises that look the exact same to the consumer. They can be vastly different behind the scenes and what they're all about, what they look for in an owner. One may have fantastic support in area X and okay support in Y, and the next one could be reversed, right? So that's part of, those are things that are not necessarily Googleable. And yes, I just made up the word Googleable, right? But that's our relationship with the franchisors behind the scenes. We know all of that. So it's really it's a blank slate, man. We can create it to whatever somebody wants. And sometimes that's part of the fun of this is helping people like get out of where they've been pigeonholed in the corporate world, even if they've been really successful. Once you get going down a path, man, it's hard to get out of that. This is blank slate. What do you want it to be? Let's help you figure that out. And then let's find that match.
I love it so much. And of course, Tim, we have so many experts come on the show and talk about branding. And if I was to say to them, listen, I'm a coach. I'm going to develop partnerships with franchisors, and I'm going to help potential franchisees understand the power of what it takes to be part of a franchise, and then perhaps match them with franchisors. What should be the name of my company? Of course, it should be FranCoach. I mean, there's no doubt about it. So it's great marketing, great branding. Now, Tim, let's get into it a little bit more. Okay. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm in the corporate world. I want to break out. I'm working 100 hours a week for somebody else. Why don't I work 100 hours a week for myself? Maybe I should do that. And they reach out to you. So let's generally talk about it because, it's the 800-pound gorilla in the room. And I know it's going to vary, but how much does it cost really to get into a franchise? I'm sure some are 10,000 or 10, some are $1 million, but give me the sweet spots and tell me what's going on with that.
Yeah. Gee, Andy, nobody's ever asked me how much does it cost, right? So that is that. Yeah. It's over in the corner. There's the elephant and it's got the word cost on it. Right. So yeah, it's an incredibly wide range, right? So I always give a simple example with this and think entry point, right? What's kind of the minimum you need to have? And I asked somebody, could you buy a house right now? Right. So not mega mansion, right? Not your house, Andy, just, starter house, right? So do we have enough cash for that down payment? Do we have good enough credit to get the home loan? And if I know just those two things, I know we will have franchises that fit that mold and funding options for it. Okay. Now, is that minimum going to get you 14 McDonald's? No, right? But it gets us in the door where literally we would have hundreds of franchises that could fit that kind of financial profile. And then again, from there, the sky's the limit, right? Just because you start small doesn't mean you can't continue to grow and grow and grow. But just at that minimum, you have that. There are some funding options out there where you really don't need cash, believe it or not. A couple of different loan options. You can utilize your own money through 401k rollovers. We've had a lot of people, especially the last couple of years with the real estate market, tap into their own equity in their houses. So there's a lot of different ways to make it happen, but it's really not that difficult financially to be able to get involved into some franchises. Again, you want fast food, that's a whole nother ballgame, right? But just getting started with options, really as easy, if not easier, than buying that cute little starter home somewhere.
That's a great answer. And I love it. So really what it is you have this conversation, you go through your process. Of course, it's a time honed process, Tim. So you understand what the people want, what they need. And then you sort of make a marriage and you have people understand, if you will, what really needs to happen to be successful in a franchise. Now,
right.
You've partnered to close to 500 franchisors. I mean, in over 60 industries. I mean, when it comes to franchisors wanting to connect with sort of the person that, has the ability to talk to others and get them involved with franchisees or franchisors, I should say, you're a go-to guy. So let's talk about it because I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit.
Okay.
All right. I know you're going to be careful because you don't want to just pick one or two of the, 500 or 600 that you have because they're all great. But what's hot right now? Like, what's a hot franchise that, people are saying, hey, we want to know what the hot franchise is right now.
Yeah. So, right up there with the cost question, get that asked a lot. I like the cost question more, right? Because there's a definite answer for that. Hot is relative, right? Most people might see me and think, oh my gosh, I'm hideous, but oh my gosh, somebody actually married me, right? So there was somebody that actually kind of thought like this was hot, right? Same thing with franchising. Did last year, did food, did a lot of retail things get dinged? Sure they did. right? Are we back going to those things again? You betcha. The unsexy businesses have been and are always really great opportunities. Home service, things where, again, nobody grows up as, my 8-year-old isn't sitting there going, Dad, someday I want to own a window washing business, right? Or a house cleaning business, or whatever you can think of. Those things just continue to kill it because they're always in need, always in demand, and they're in that kind of low cost scenario. Do we still have people looking at, beauty brands and fitness and food? Of course we do. Just a little different financial profile for that. But that's the cool thing is franchising. It's really, I make a lot of analogies once we start connecting people to franchises of dating. Because there's some comparisons to that, and it's really in the eye of the beholder. For again, what you may see something and go, oh my gosh, that's amazing. The next 3 people I talk to are like, oh my gosh, Tim, you're off your rocker. That's terrible. And that's okay. It makes this a fun, individualized process. But I'm a little biased. Like the home service things are constant killers, low cost, easy to grow and scale, and they're just like, they're not going away. So again, doesn't win the award for sexiest business on the planet until you see the bottom line, and then that suddenly looks a little bit better.
I love it, Tim. Let's say I'm a guy or a gal, and I have a corporate job, but I love fixing things. I love like tinkering with things and, doing my own sidewalk in the front of my, house, or, fixing my windows. And maybe I say to myself, I could become like sort of like a handyman or a handywoman. And I don't really know how to do it. I need sort of like a package. I need someone to sort of give me a package on how to do that. Would that be one, like an example of perhaps a franchise that's available to someone that, just wants to get into the handyman business?
Absolutely. Right. And there are times that there are people that have maybe a side hustle or a small business that they're doing that on themselves, their own. Right. And then how do I take that to the next level? Right. And then that might be somebody that's kind of a plumber, right? And it's Tim's plumbing business, but it's pretty small because I'm just a good plumber. I don't know how to run the business. Might I translate that into a franchise to help me really grow? Absolutely. The other thing on the service side, and this is probably more common, is franchises don't want you being the one swinging the hammer, turning the wrench, doing anything, because like a great chef that owns a restaurant that's in the kitchen all the time, the question is who's running the business, right? If you're out there as the doer, who's running the business, right? So a lot of times, and probably more times than not, people start a franchise in an industry that they have little to no experience in, and sometimes don't even know that franchise exists before we started the process. And again, it's really, I always tell people, I'm going to get you out of your comfort zone as we go through this. And getting out of your comfort zone, guess what? That's a little uncomfortable, but that gets us to open our mind and eyes to all these different potential things. And it could be, I'm the least handy person on the planet, but maybe owning a handyman franchise is perfect, right? Can I do the things that owner needs to do, which are not swinging the hammer? Can I manage those craftsmen, skilled labor that are focused on their craft? Can I get out and connect in the community? Can I do the sales and the marketing, right? That's what they need me to do, and have a passion for that quality service. That's what the franchises are typically looking for. But every now and then there are those interest things that kind of lead us there. But really, honestly, more times than not, it is something vastly, vastly different.
I love it. What a great answer, Tim. And for people thinking about it, reach out to Tim. I mean, it's so interesting. A lot of your clients really, I would imagine, are people sort of at a career crossroad. They've woken up one morning and they find themselves asking, a question to themselves, like, what do I want to do with my life? Like you mentioned. And of course, there's so many opportunities. When people speak to you, Tim, do you find that the people that become successful as a franchisee, that they have a passion for sort of the space? or do they need more of a passion for putting one foot in front of the other and following a system? Which one is the one that reigns the day?
The latter almost all the time, right? And again, because and this is hard for folks coming out of the corporate world, that you've been in the same industry for 25 years because you just happened to start in it out of college and now you're stuck, right? The industry doesn't matter. You're not the doer. It's what is your passion for getting you out of bed? Is it, I really want a, high quality product that can build long-term relationships. I love leading these type of people. Whatever it is, the industry is kind of the, oh, by the way, in most cases, right? It's more of that passion is there has to be a better way to live my life, right? I'm working 80, 100 hours and I'm not getting anywhere, or I just got laid off again, and whatever it might be, I'm missing my kids this, kids that. I'm not building any sort of wealth or equity, right? You can't legacy that vice president position to your kids when you're ready to retire. You can't sell it when you're done. You're done. So that is key. And the other thing you mentioned, kind of that, there's kind of two big kind of demographics, right? So there's the folks my age, right, that are in that 45 to 55-year-old bucket. They went to college, they got a degree, like our parents lied to us and told we had to do, so we could get a job and then work there till we retire. Well, that's not how it works, right? But that bucket, they've been doing something for 20, 25 years, and they're beat down. They want something where they can control, right? But there's also the younger bucket. We've had somebody this year as young as 24 that became a franchise owner, and that 25 to early 30s, telling you that generation has figured out in 2 years what ours took 25 years to figure out, that working for somebody else sucks, right? And so they're able to take control of their life at an earlier stage. And we literally have a guy this week, he's 28, he's signing a franchise agreement with 2 different franchises. He's already got like 10 different properties he owns. He's like, I'm so like proud of him and jealous all at the same time, right? But it's not, I don't want anybody to think they've got to be, 40, 50, 60 years old. Yeah, we work with those folks all the time, but sometimes there's in that kind of late 20s, mid-late 20s, early 30s, ambitious and really want something for themselves. Franchises aren't going to bat an eye at that at all, because again, can you follow the plan? Are you going to put forth the effort? That's what they're really looking for.
Tim, I love it so much. It's really eye-opening. I mean, listening to you and speaking to you, it's really awesome, because I understand if I'm at this crossroads and I reach out to you, I'm going to get some great sage advice. In other words, I'm going to get the straight shot. And I love that so much. You're very calm. You have a good demeanor about you. I think you can really provide this type of coaching to people thinking about what they want to do, what they want to go into. And I love the fact that if people can follow a system, you have a system for them. And it's really selecting the type of system that's really the most important thing for the success of a potential franchisee. Now, Tim, I know you've only cut out a certain amount of time. I'm going to have you back on the show because I'm so fascinated with franchises. I mean, I've been reading about franchises for years and years and years, and so many people do so well if they just follow the system. And of course, they surround themselves with experts that can give them good advice. And in your particular case at FranCoach, I mean, you're a go-to guy. I mean, anybody thinking about franchises should reach out to Tim, because you're going to get this great straight shot. He's got these partnerships with hundreds of franchisors, and of course, he's helped so many franchisees. Now, Tim, before we go, and I know, again, thank you so much for coming on the show. I want to talk about entrepreneurship. We have a lot of younger entrepreneurs that maybe are having a tough time in their business. Maybe they're hitting a pothole in the road. Could you give some advice to the younger entrepreneurs on what it takes to get through those tough times before I let you go today?
I think young, old, it's all the same thing, right? Especially when you're in a franchise, follow the system, use your resources. But like, seriously, just don't quit, right? The best thing I've ever done is start this business, right? And it has been amazing. It's led to other entrepreneur ventures for me, for my family, all of those things. But it is not all rainbows and unicorns, man. There are bad days. There's stuff that pops up, but understand that you're in control of it, the problem solving, and especially within a franchisor, stick to the system, right? Use your resources within the franchise, other franchise owners. We always tell even our clients, like, call me, right? Like, if I can't figure it out, I'm going to know like where to get you pointed in it. And I just like, it's super simple, but like, it's no different than telling my 8-year-old, if he can't figure out like something in his math homework, don't quit, don't give up. Let's keep working towards it, and use your resources for help when you need it. Because in franchising, your resources are everywhere. You've just got to be willing to tap into it.
I love it. It's great advice, Tim. You know, this is such a fascinating interview because there are a lot of people at the crossroads. You know, a lot of people through COVID, of course, they started thinking to themselves, what can I do with my life? What should I do with my life? Am I doing the right thing with my life? Maybe I'm working for someone else and I want to work for myself, but maybe I don't know where to turn. Maybe I don't have a trusted resource. Maybe I don't have a trusted expert or a mentor that can help me get through maybe the choppy waters of where I want to go. And I think, Tim, when I think of you, you're sort of like this very solid sailboat that can get people through choppy waters, and you know when to put the sail up, bring the sail down, which way to turn, which way to face the wind, and take your sailboat with your clients and put them in the right direction so they're able to cut through the choppy waters and get to the clear, blue, beautiful water with the sun that's coming down after they select which franchisor they want to go with. And you're there with them every single step of the way, Tim. This is remarkable. I wanted to thank you so much for coming on the show today. What you're doing at FranCoach is really, really important and super cool. I love it so much. I'm going to have you back on the show. And thanks so much, Tim, for coming on the .com Magazine Entrepreneur Spotlight Series today.
No, absolutely, Andy. And thanks so much. And again, and I know it's probably posted on the screen somewhere, FranCoach.net is our website. Franchising 101 is our podcast. Probably find it everywhere. We find your podcast as well. So thank you so much. I love what you're doing and can't thank you enough for having us on today.